Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. I hope you're having a great day so far. So today we are going to be looking at the three most hyped highlighters, maybe of all time, but certainly of this year. I'm talking about the Pat McGrath, I'm talking about the Charlotte Tilbury, and I'm talking about the Natasha Denona. These three new highlights all came out in the last month and everybody has been going nuts for them. The Pat McGrath is the latest one. It's just dropped. It just fell into my lap yesterday and I was super excited to see what the comparisons, similarities, differences are between these three highlights and help you guys decide if you're trying to choose between them, if you're trying to see if any of them actually offer you something different that you don't already have, or if you're trying to see which one I think is the best of the bunch. A lot of the time when I do these comparison videos, it's really hard, especially with highlights. Highlights are the most aesthetically pleasing, pretty, beautiful, glorious to look at products as far as makeup. So it's very easy to get suckered in and think, oh, they're so shiny and beautiful and pretty and luminous and I need them all. But at this point in our lives, we have a lot of them. Most of us have way more than we will ever need or use in a lifetime. So to really justify purchasing a new one, it needs to be special. It needs to be different in some way. And I'm here to tell you whether or not any of these three, all of these three, or none of these three tick that special, unique, different box for me. So at the end of the video, I'll be doing swatches of a load of different highlights that I have in my collection in comparison to these three. If you want to see that, I'll have a timestamp below to show you just where to jump to if you just want to see swatches of these against the others. Otherwise, I'll be applying all three of these so you can see them in more detail and talking you through the differences. So let's start with the one I've had the longest. This is the Charlotte Tilbury Hollywood Superstar Glow Highlighter. This is limited edition. In fact, all of these are limited edition in some way. I believe the Pat McGrath, she said something along the lines of it's limited edition packaging. So we'll see. These two are both released, the Natasha and the Charlotte, as limited edition products. So expect them to, I guess, fully disappear at some point, but take that with a pinch of salt because we know what happens with limited edition. Is anything really limited edition anymore? Who knows? So this is the largest of the three. It is 11.5 grams and it is £39, making it the best value for your money at £3.39 per gram. If you're just looking for bang for your buck, then this is a good option. Although all three of these highlights are, you know, I mean, if you get through them in a lifetime, you've done well. So I don't think many of us are worried about, you know, running out and that being a deciding factor. But if it is for you, then this is the one that is the most value for money. This for me is like an in-between highlight. It's not beaming metallic off the rails bling, but it also isn't super soft. You can use it really in either way. As you can see, this nice and blended out. It can be very soft and subtle. If you use it before your bronzer and blush, it will really melt into the skin. This is a perfect shade for me. I'm like a medium skin tone at the moment, like an NC30. I'm wearing the Shiseido Citrine shade today in my Synchro Skin Self-Refreshing Foundation for reference. But yeah, this melts into the skin. There's no cast. It's a beautiful highlight and it's kind of a moderate level of metallic. It's super soft. You will get some kick up in the pan. You get a very large compact with a very large mirror, but you can see all that kick up just from me swirling my finger in there. So if that's something that bothers you, then this may be a pass for you because it is going to get some dusty kick up and you may want to tap your brush off to stop you applying too much. I apply all three of these highlights with my Sonia G Fan Pro. It works beautifully with all three of them. I don't feel the need to use a different or specific brush with any of these formulas. So that is the Charlotte Tilbury. Next up, Natasha Denona's I Need a Nude Glow. Now, I was so excited about this one, even though the Charlotte Tilbury had just come out and everyone was like, oh, and not another one. I don't need another one in the kind of champagne-y gold family. But I was especially excited for this one, and the reason being that her Glow Impact Powder, which is the formula that this highlight is, it's the formula that was in her Tan palette and the formula that was in her Love Glow palette, is my favourite highlight from Natasha. I prefer it to her Super Glow formula. It's my favourite formula from the brand. So when she was releasing it as a single, I was very excited because it is my favourite, one of my favourite formulas in general, but definitely my favourite from her. It's so soft. It's that baked gelée type formula, no kick up, can't even tell you've used it, will last an absolute lifetime. So this one is the second largest and is this second best bang for your buck. There's 8 grams of product in here, £38, which makes it £4.75 per gram. So not as much for your money as Charlotte, but still a pretty decent amount. So again, here is a blended out swatch. And again, like the Charlotte Tilbury, this one is super melting into the skin, doesn't leave a cast, perfect for my skin tone. I think either of these is going to leave a slight cast or require a slightly lighter hand, more cautious application if you have fair skin. I think there's probably better shades if you have super fair skin than either of these, because they are, as you can see, pretty much my skin tone. So if you're really fair, it is going to show, you know, color on your skin. So you want to apply it before your bronzer or keep it higher up on the cheeks so that you don't end up with a cast on your skin. This is so smooth. I love the formula. I like the compact. I think it's beautiful. I like the big size mirror, and it applies like a dream. Very, very smooth. Like the Charlotte Tilbury, it doesn't exaggerate texture, and it's just melts into the skin invisibly, but it is a hair more metallic than the Charlotte Tilbury to my eye. It looks just a little bit more than the Charlotte. Definitely has a bit of a wet look to the glow about it, which is what I love, but it's not a really subtle formula. It is a bit more bling. And last but not least, the Pat McGrath. I'm going to try not to blind you. As you can see, this is like a solid lump of gold. It is so heavy. The packaging of this is beautiful, from the box to the inner component to the highlight itself. It has a couple of quirks or slightly less practical elements to the packaging. One is it is a twist off lid. So the lid twists off instead of flipping up like the others, and there is no mirror in here. The inside of the compact is just black plastic. So that's something to know. As I was applying this, I was having to use a mirror from a different highlight. Obviously, if you're applying this in your bedroom, then that's not really an issue, but it's not really travel friendly for that reason. Or if you have to do your makeup downstairs, you're going to have to use another mirror. So that's just something to consider. It is incredibly heavy, so weighty, like the heaviest makeup compact I've ever experienced. It's very heavy. It was also extremely surprising in lots of ways, this highlight. One, given that the name of the highlighter shade is Champagne Gold, I find this highlight to be very pink, which I was not expecting at all. Let me show you how pink this is. I don't find this to be champagne at all or gold at all. It's pink to me. And it's also, this is a very heavy swatch, as you can see. And actually this highlight, more so than the other two I'm comparing it to today, has the ability to be like full opacity. Like even when I swatch on my finger, it's like completely opaque coverage. But when you apply it with a fan brush, it is so soft and subtle and natural. I don't even know what magic and mystery is in this highlight. It is so lovely and soft and natural and just, you know, lit from within, glow from within, which I really wasn't expecting. Obviously, Pat has kind of different elements to her vibe, her aesthetic, her makeup style. Her eyeshadow is obviously very, very over the top, very colourful, super beaming, the most impactful glitters that we see on the market. But then her foundation is super natural and skin-like and soft. So, you know, she flits from one extreme to the other. And I think everyone thought this highlight was going to be metallic, beaming from space, can't see it, you're blinded, that type of highlight. And actually, I really wasn't expecting, one, the pink tone to this, and two, for it to be so soft and just luminous and pretty on the skin. So as to be expected, this one is the least value for money. You get the least amount in here. This is 6.5 grams. It will set you back £50, which makes it a whopping £7.69 per gram. So it is the most expensive and it is the least value for money when you look at the pounds per gram. So as far as how much I enjoy these, if I had to rank them, I would surprisingly put the Natasha Denona third. That's not to say I don't like it. I love all three of these highlights. They're three of my favorite highlights of all time. I love this one. I think it's very beautiful. I have it on this side of my face. I've applied blush over the top, so it's a little more toned down. It's nice and smooth. It doesn't enhance my texture a lot, and I find it melts into the skin beautifully, but for every day, for my taste, it's just a hair too much. I would wear this on a night out, but I wouldn't reach for this like every day, all day, whatever the occasion, because it is, you know, a more beaming highlight than my taste is generally on an everyday basis. In second, it would be the Pat McGrath for me. I have had this one the least amount of time, so it's definitely got potential to kind of move up the rankings as I get to know it a bit better, but for a couple of reasons. One, because it's slightly impractical for me and just the way I do my makeup, that it doesn't have a mirror in there. I just find that a little clunky, because although I use my big mirror while I'm generally doing my makeup, for things like highlight and just more specific application or more detail application like my brow bone, inner corners, things like that, I just want to grab, you know, with the product I'm using and be able to see what I'm doing close up in a mirror. So I do find that slightly irking. Having said that, it is so beautiful and I actually love the rosy shade of it. It melts into the skin. I've just actually added another layer here to see if it can be more luminous, and it definitely can. You can build this up. It's super versatile. You can build this up or use something like the Linda Holberg to pick up more product and get a more impactful glow, which it definitely does, but it doesn't matter how much you use, it still stays super smooth, the smoothest of the three as far as enhancing texture. So yeah, if texture is your main concern, this is the smoothest of the three, I feel like, as far as in textured areas. It's definitely the most natural and subtle as far as the level of shine, even built up to like full beam that this one can achieve. It still is like seamless and still very smooth. So I think that's a real love about this one. And just edging it for me, because of the shade and the fact it has that lovely large mirror, is the Charlotte Tilbury. These two are very close between the Pat McGrath, and I have had this one obviously a lot longer and grown to know and love it. So yeah, I think for the extra value for money, the fact that it is a lot less and a lot less per gram as well, the fact that it has a lovely large mirror. I tend to lean more towards champagnes and golds when it comes to my highlights. So this tone, the pinkier tone of the Pat McGrath, is more sort of an unknown and not my usual preference, so it may take me a little longer to get used to it. So for that reason, at the moment, I'm putting Charlotte Tilbury into number one, but the Pat McGrath definitely has an honourable mention. For me, those two are my favourites. As much as I love the Natasha I Need a Nude Glow, it's definitely the least me of these three highlights because it is that bit more in your face. So I really hope that this was helpful for you if you're trying to choose between these highlights at the moment, and I will leave you with the swatches against lots of the highlights I have in my collection so you can see the different shades and compare if you have something similar in your collection. Pat McGrath Champagne Gold, Charlotte Tilbury Superstar Glow, the Natasha Denona I Need a Nude Glow, the Glow Impact Powder from the Love Glow palette, Glow Impact Powder from the Tan palette, Charlotte Tilbury Magic Star Highlighter, ABH Amrezy, Becca Opal, Natasha Denona Super Glow shade Light Medium. Darkest shade from the Hourglass Ambient Metallic palette. MAC Whisper of Guilt. Middle shade from the Charlotte Tilbury Bar of Gold palette. Fenty Afternoon Snack. And there you have all the comparison swatches. So this is the new Pat McGrath, the new Charlotte Tilbury and the new Natasha Denona. We've got the Glow Impact Powder from the Love Glow Cheek Palette, the Glow Impact Powder from the Natasha Denona Tan Cheek Palette. We've got last year's Magic Star from Charlotte Tilbury. We've got the ABH Amrezy Highlight, Becca's Opal, Natasha Denona's Super Glow in the shade 2 Light Medium, the darkest shade from the Hourglass Metallic Ambient Lighting Highlight Palette, MAC's Whisper of Guilt, the middle shade, the pink shade from the Charlotte Tilbury Bar of Gold palette, and last but not least, Afternoon Snack from Fenty. So you can probably see here, there really are no dupes for the Pat McGrath. It's definitely pinker than the majority of other highlights I own. Probably the closest in shade would be the Charlotte Tilbury, but it's definitely a smoother formula than the Bar of Gold. As far as the Charlotte Tilbury, probably the closest would be Becca's Opal that I own. I think that's a similar shade, but again, not as subtle and sort of luminous. This one's definitely a more metallic, more impactful highlight. And then for the Natasha Denona, I need a nude glow. I think the closest is the Glow Impact Powder from the Love Glow palette, which we know is the same formula, the same Glow Impact formula, and it's a similar shade, maybe a hair lighter. I hope you found this video helpful, and I'd love to see you in the next one. Otherwise, take care for now. Bye 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 bye.